Welcome to Neighbor to Neighbor. My name is Lynn Corum. I'm your host today, and today we have as our guest Marcy Jones. Marcy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and Marcy is a chiropractor in town, been in town a long time, and we wanted to, do what this show does, and that's find out what people in our neighborhood are doing. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I came to town 27 years ago. I'm married to a wonderful woman named Dee Dee Jones, who's a mediator. I have great kids, and I love this town of Brattleboro.
Where'd you come from?
Grafton, Vermont, just 28 miles up the road.
And you still have strong ties to Grafton?
Yes, I do. Yep.
And where'd you get your, you're a chiropractor?
Yes.
What was that journey like to get there?
Well, I went to Castleton State College and then Logan College of Chiropractic out in St. Louis, Missouri.
And how many years of dedication was that?
I think I was about 8 years total, and then I did postgraduate work while in practice for many years.
Uh-huh. And you're a great seminar attender, I think. You like to go to keep up with the newest stuff.
I have been for a long time.
Yeah.
Slowing down now.
Slowing down now a little bit?
I've been in practice for 27 years.
I figure you're one of the experts now. Or at the top, huh? We met you when you first came to town. You came to town about the same time that we did. And I remember in the beginning we discussed starting a business. What are the challenges that you faced, and how did you approach staying with it and knowing you were going to be okay and so forth?
Well, I'll give an example at first here. Less mechanical and more personal that each person needs to define. When I first got out of chiropractic school, I had big visions. I wanted to go to a big city and whatnot. And I was thinking about New Haven, Connecticut, and Boston, and I was almost really ready to set up in Boston, and the whole thing fell through. I call this Toby's lesson. Toby Watkinson, a good friend of mine. So I called him on the phone, and I was, whining away. Oh, this fell through, and I was just, sort of devastated. And I was going on and on and on and on the phone. He wasn't saying anything. And I said, well, what do you think? You're not saying anything. And he said, great. I said, what?
Great what? Yeah.
He said, great. I said, what do you mean great? He said, get your ass out there and find out where you're supposed to be.
In other words, stop feeling sorry for yourself.
Well, but also, I wasn't supposed to be there.
Uh-huh.
That wasn't it for me. So I then I went right back to Boston and looked around again, and then, as I began to look at those big buildings, and I said, well, So then I looked at Western Mass, I started to look at Vermont, I looked at Burlington and Rutland, and it just wasn't right. The second I stepped into the town of Brattleboro, it was like the band started playing and the red carpet was rolled out. I had found the place I was supposed to be. So I guess that's a big lesson. Once again, less about the mechanics and more personal. If you're having difficulty starting a business, or ask yourself, where am I really supposed to be? Is this the business? Is this the town? Is this the opportunity, or should it really be something different?
When we came to town, a whole bunch of us came in it struck me as sort of the same time. Rick and Randy Smith came into town, started Travel Smiths. They're no longer here. But they spent, we're here 12, 15 years, I think, and good friends. And Bobbins and Pooh had moved to town at about that same time. And just a whole group that we became friendly with. And, you and Dee Dee were certainly part of that group. And all sort of going through the same things at the same time. And so
That's right.
It wasn't
Yeah.
really, when
It
you
was
say
fun.
roll out the red carpet, I think that we found this mutual, not admiration, but mutual society somehow within the town that was just worked for us.
Yes.
And so we all can share those growing experiences. But when you moved to town, just like we did, you bought a home on
High
High
Street.
Street. It was not a single-family home, and you lived upstairs and rented out the downstairs to help meet the mortgage payments. And
That's correct.
You had even a third-floor apartment, maybe, too, on that one. Or
No,
you
by
put
the
that
time
in?
we left, we'd put a
put that
third-floor
in.
apartment in. Yeah.
And we likewise bought a home that had an apartment in half the house, and we lived in the other half until you could afford not to do that.
Right.
And so let's talk a little bit about the willingness to be able to start small and grow tall, so to speak.
Well, I've been a workaholic, I guess, ever since I was a kid. You know, I just was willing to pay the price to succeed. I remember one time, you know, in the 80s, it really snowed around here a lot. And I was worried about the roof. And I remember getting up in the morning and going up on the roof at that High Street building and shoveling from maybe 3 to 7 o'clock in the morning.
It's a lot of snow.
It was a lot of snow, and I got about half of it done. And then I went inside, took a shower, went to work, treated patients, came home. I had 2-hour lunch breaks back then. So I went right back up on the roof, and I shoveled snow for about an hour, went and ate lunch, went back to work, treated patients till 5 or 6, came home, and I think I shoveled again till 10 o'clock that night. And I remember being up there, it was all dark, and I thinking, boy, are you nuts or what? And I just was willing to pay the price. I was willing to work hard to make it happen.
And to prevent...
to prevent my house from crashing in with all the snow. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, but I think within that example you just gave us is a piece that I've admired about your personality is you stick with it. You
Yeah.
stick with tell us how long you've had some of your cars.
Well, I came to town with my first car and kept it for 15 years. When I bought my second car, and I bought it brand new, I ordered it exactly as I wanted it. And it is now 12 and a half years old. Mm-hmm. And I hope to have it for 15 or 17 years. Mm-hmm. That's just my style.
Yeah, you get something, you know what you want.
Yes.
You get it and go from there.
I'll put in an ad here for Tom Brooks oil undercoating up in Newfane.
Yeah.
Keeps my cars going.
Quite a fantastic shop he's got up there.
Yes.
He's another example of someone who really does it well, does it right, and
yes,
very proud of his work.
That's right, yeah.
And his his wood stack.
Oh, isn't that amazing?
Buses stop, I understand, up there to see that
yes.
wall of stacked cordwood.
Right.
It's just quite amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And you could probably eat off the floors of his operation.
Yes, very clean.
Very clean, yeah. Chiropractic medicine. What made you understand that that was where you were supposed to be?
Well, you know, that's sort of funny. I didn't really know that that was it at the time, mm-hmm. but I couldn't have ended up in a more perfect situation. I like people, and I'm a mechanical thinker. It's just perfect, and I guess I've come to appreciate it over the years that I can't think of another profession I would rather be in. It ended up just perfect for me. I didn't know it in the beginning. I just didn't, but I guess the trials and tribulations that got me there, I guess that was...
It just worked out.
It just worked out, and
but helping people.
Yes.
But also evaluating what kind of help they really need.
Yes, as I say, I'm a mechanical thinker. I never did well with chemistry because I couldn't see the parts, but I can look at your shoulder through your shirt, and I know I can see the whole mechanism in there. I can imagine how everything moves, and I just have that kind of mind. So being a chiropractor and working on people it's just perfect for me.
Mm-hmm. And satisfaction from that job as far as helping people get better. Chiropractors have had to prove themselves in their medicine, and I think are very accepted today.
Yes.
80 years ago, I don't think that was the case.
Well, when I came to town 27 years ago, there were medical doctors who didn't want to have anything to do with me, and now they refer me patients. So mm-hmm. I've seen it change.
It changed. And I think the whole idea of how to treat people has broadened.
That's right. Well, but also, what's really important is that the chiropractors need to do the same thing on the other end. They need to respect medicine and surgery and refer to that side of the fence when it's appropriate.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and you do that?
Oh, I've been doing it for years, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, right out of the
Out of
the chute.
Yeah. One of the ways that you built your business, I remember you used to have a little advertisement on television. And
Yes.
you would go to the hospital fairs. And you were, I think, one of the leaders in that kind of marketing kind of thing, but getting known and getting out there. What was all that like for you?
Well, kind of corny. I mean, I don't like advertising, but it does get your name and your face out. So I've done television, I've done a newspaper, I've thought about radio but haven't done it. We're currently doing an email newsletter. So for my current patients, we just started a little while ago. So if any of my patients are watching that aren't getting it, give us your email. I mean, I may do something different in the future, but once again, when I did the television advertising, I think I did it steady for 5 years, and then I did newspaper for 2 years, and you can't just try something; you have to stick with it.
If you were to advise someone a new professional coming in, or someone who wanted to start a business doing anything in town, raking leaves, a lawn business, to a cleaning business, what would be your advice as far as, in this day and age, knowing the market as you do, knowing Vermont as you do, what would be your advice to them?
Well, like I had said earlier, make sure that this is the town, this is the business, this is the right thing, that you really feel good about it inside. If you're just casting about and saying, well, I need to go into business, I'm not sure what business I want, gee, what's for sale? I think that's the wrong way. I would suggest you look inside yourself and look for a passion. I mean, whatever you have been passionate about in the past, you're probably still passionate about, it may be tucked back there in the attic, but I think it's important that you have passion for what you're going to do. That's half of your success right there. Don't try to force it. Don't try to be something you're not. Try to be something that you're passionate about, and it'll help work for you.
I hear that kind of stuff from people say that kind of stuff, and yet I feel it's a nebulous situation.
I know. You can't pin it down. You can't define it. You can't put it in a box.
Yeah. And so sometimes I think we fall into stuff, like you kind of fell into Brattleboro.
Except once again, my friend Toby sent me searching. So I was searching, and there it was. So don't force it. Just keep searching until it just really comes to light.
And it happens. Do you know of people who can say they've had that same experience at all? You're also a member of Rotary.
Yes, yeah.
And the people there share a lot about their life histories and so forth. I wonder how many people have had that same, the idea of searching and it's sort of just being on the doorstep for them.
Well, when you talk about Rotary, I think Rotary is made up of a whole lot of people who are living their passion, who are doing what they really want to do, and they're very successful, and they want to share success, and they join Rotary, and it makes the community even better.
Yeah. Let's go into Rotary a little bit. That's been a big part of your life, I believe.
Well, actually, your husband and I joined.
They joined at the same time, and we won't say how many years it is. So.
Oh, we can. I think we joined in March of '83. February or March.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that day. Funny how that day was, it's only an hour, but I remember that day. I remember meeting you there.
Yes, yeah.
Interesting. Rotary, you are involved in different projects of Rotary. Talk about the club and what that does for the community, what it's done for you, and so forth.
Well, once again, I see people in Rotary, they tend to gravitate towards their passion. When I joined Rotary, the gun show had been going on for years. And I'm a hunter. I have a hunting camp, and I love firearms and guns. I grew up with them. And so it was just a natural, and I gravitated toward that. And with Clyde Johnson and Tom Johnson, the three of us ran the gun show until it expired on its 25th anniversary. It was time for it to end, and we saw that. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I worked on it all year long. I mean, most people had no idea that, I worked on it all year long. But I loved it. It was part of my passion. I'm sorry it's gone, but I think most Rotarians find whatever it is, whether it's Pure Water for the World and going to El Salvador, and everybody sort of finds their place in it, and they're usually quite passionate about it.
Okay, and so Rotarians take this passion, you with the gun, making money on the gun show. They make money selling the Christmas trees.
That's right.
That's coming up soon. Doing a myriad of projects, and what does Rotary do with the money that they raise?
Turn it right back around into the community, whether it's this community or the world community.
Okay, and in this community, they have a scholarship program for students at the high school, I believe?
Oh, yes. We've helped many, many organizations. We have student Rotarians now, helped rebuild the Memorial Park, put in the
deck up there.
And the deck up there,
and
but
the
also the amphitheater. We redid youth services years ago. I'm sorry I can't name them all off.
Well, I think you've helped clean up down at the museum.
That's
build
correct.
This project here and there. So a lot of organizations in town, which are nonprofits, come knocking out Rotary's door saying we need a work project, which saves them a lot of money. And I think you have a lot of building skills. You're a good sheetrocker, as I recall.
I've done a lot of it.
Yeah. And Art Greenbaum shows up with his equipment and his knowledge.
Art Greenbaum is a peach.
Yeah.
He's one of the best Rotarians we've ever had.
Yeah. And a lot of people come with different skills, or they learn skills in the process too, which is the exciting thing on those work projects.
That's right.
So you get out of it. I think why it succeeds is you get out of it as much as you put into it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's what makes it big.
Of course.
You can say that about the town too.
Yeah. Well, Rotary is like a small community. I mean, I just love going there for lunch, and as corny as it seems, going through the prayer and singing the songs, and almost takes me back to grade school years when we used to do that stuff, and it just quickly sets the tone. It's like no matter how hectic life has been, all of a sudden you're on vacation. It might only last for an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and a half, but you're on vacation. You're in a different world.
So it's a stress reducer too.
It is. Yes, it is.
Kind of like church in a way.
I guess so.
People with the routine of church and
yes.
the traditions there. What other hobbies do you have?
Well, as I said, the guns and hunting. I have a hunting camp. This is the time of year. I'm going there a lot.
And what are you hunting for right now?
I've been hunting for bear, rifle, and deer with bow and arrow. In a couple weeks, a deer for rifle starts, and then there's muzzleloader in December.
I saw a calendar once at somebody's place, and there's hunting something going on, everything from crows to squirrels to the big stuff.
Yes, yeah.
So you're out there as much as you want.
Yes.
As much as you can be.
Yes.
I assume.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just being out in the wilderness, in the woods, takes you back probably to being a child too.
Yes. Growing up in Grafton, I think the entire township of Grafton, when I was a kid in the 50s, had 300 people. That's the entire township, not just the little town. The whole township.
We'll get back to Grafton in just a minute, I think, as we wrap up at the end. But you also fly planes.
I fly radio-controlled model airplanes, yes.
The small little models, and build them yourself.
Yes, although they're not so small anymore. I'm up to about 80-inch wingspan, 50cc gasoline motors. It's really incredible. Some of my friends are flying models with 200cc gasoline motors, 140-inch wingspans, close to 50 pounds. What's great is, I'll travel to Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, and all those people travel as well, and we'll all converge on a Thursday or a Friday and spend the whole weekend flying. In the morning we get up and fly little teeny electrics, and at 9 o'clock we start flying the big planes till 5. You know, then everybody eats supper, and they'll fly the little electrics again. And then after dark, we'll fly planes with lights in them. So all you see is the lights. You can't see the plane, but you can see the outline. And
it's kind of like another little community that you have.
it's another little community, exactly, with the same passion.
And that's fun.
It is lots of fun.
It's a hoot, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were out seeing that. What's the most dangerous part for your planes? The takeoff or the landing?
The landing.
The landing's the
Yes.
hardest.
Takeoffs are optional. Landings are mandatory.
Yeah.
And some of them aren't graceful.
At least no people involved. I've seen some of those planes. They have little model people in them.
Yes,
so
that's
cute.
right. Yes,
really amazing. And we've done some sailing together. That's
Yes, we have.
Fun thing.
Yes, in fact, I broke a rib on your sailboat once. Remember that?
I remember that. Yeah, that was not our fault. The wind.
Oh, no.
Natural
The wind took us over, and I hit one of the
one of the stays.
stays.
Yeah. You grew up in Grafton.
Mm-hmm.
Before the Wyndham Foundation
That's correct.
was up there. And Grafton was a bigger town, I think, during the lumber industry.
Or during the 1800s, I think it was during the woolen
woolen
boom.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about the history of Grafton.
Well, I think it was founded in 1754. And it was very successful in the late 1700s, early 1800s, up to maybe 1850s or 60s. And then things just kind of slowly spiraled down. I think when I was a kid, there were 27 farms, and now there's one subsidized farm. So in the 50s, I say Grafton was as poor then as it is rich now. In the 1960s, the Wyndham Foundation moved in and you know, sort of rescued the town, I guess. I mean, I loved it the old way, but I like it the new way. But you know, I really grew up in my opinion, the end of the Depression. Even though the Depression had ended decades ago, you know, most people still burned wood. They had root cellars. You know, they got together for wood bees to cut wood for the church. I mean, the church was still burning wood in the furnace, and you know, we had suppers at the chapel, and it was really old-time, old-fashioned Vermont. It was wonderful.
It was wonderful.
It was.
And everybody knew everybody, of course.
Everybody knew everybody, yes.
And did you travel to Brattleboro much when you were growing up at all?
No, Bellows Falls was the big city.
That was a big town?
Yeah.
It's the closest, a little closer.
That's right, it was closer, yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how those times have just moving around, how people have changed their patterns because of that. Because now a lot of people live in Grafton but might work in Brattleboro.
That's correct. And some live in Brattleboro and work in Grafton.
Yeah, because the foundation has done
and the cheese factory. And
It's a quick synopsis about your financial investing philosophies that have carried you through.
Well, I'm a dividend investor. I invest in companies, reasonable, responsible companies that provide products that everybody needs every day. I'm looking for a growing dividend that will help provide me income, more income year after year when I'm in retirement. That's my philosophy in a nutshell.
And given that the markets are experiencing a real downturn right now, do you look at that as a buying opportunity or a stay tight opportunity or a sell opportunity?
Oh, no. Stay tight and buy.
Stay tight and buy.
Stay tight and buy.
And keep adding on because they're cheaper right now.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And
that's called value investing.
Value investing. Yeah. Thank you.
Buying when people are down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or when the market's down,
when
not people.
Yeah. What? Just as a general overall philosophy, I mean, people don't in this country anymore want to. We think everything should keep going up. Everything should be so. And if it doesn't go up, we think the government. A lot of the attitudes, the government should help support it to go up, instead of knowing that you can succeed, but you also have a right to fail, and we can learn from our mistakes. What do you think? Where do you think the general overall tone of the country, people's tolerance for not having everything come to them easily is? I see this. I'm sure you see this.
Well, I think life has gotten too cushy. Having grown up in quote unquote the end of the Depression, I mean, believe it or not, I have an active root cellar in my house in Brattleboro. I may be the only.
What are you growing in there? Or storing?
Well, a root cellar works on being cold, and even though my basement is hot because I burn wood, my root cellar is isolated in the northwest corner of the house in the cellar. I can regulate the temperature by opening and closing the window and having the cold air spill down. And I keep it about 34 to 38 degrees during the wintertime. You can have squash, potatoes, anything you want in there. Your canned goods, your pickles,
So it saves you having to buy another refrigerator.
That's right.
And the electricity to pay for it to run it.
No electricity to pay for it.
Yeah.
And you can buy, big squashes or,
Room is not a problem.
Room
right?
is not a problem. I have lots of shelves. It's a big room, and you just put them in there. And when you want something, you go down. Apples, whatever.
Uh-huh. So self-sufficient, as much as you can. I know you live on Tyler Street on a town lot, but as much as you can, you have preserved that, I'll call it the pioneer or American experience of being as efficient
And self-sufficient.
As possible.
Yeah. Once again, believe it or not, and I know some people think I'm crazy.
I don't.
I'm actually converting my heating system in my house back to the way it would have been in 1909, because I burn wood. In the old days, all the hot air registers were in the center of the house, and the heat would come up in the center. Well, if the cold air registers were on the outside of the rooms, that's where the cold air is, because that's where the windows are. Well, cold air sinks. So if you have that cold air then sink down into the basement and go through the basement floor in a tunnel, as many of the old houses had, and then come up right underneath the wood furnace, you see how that cycle just goes? Mm-hmm. And there's no electricity, there's no electric fan, nothing that you're paying for. It just works automatically.
So you're converting your house back to this type of system?
Yes. We've done an awful lot of work over the last several years, and Kenny Whitworth down at Brattleboro Sheet Metal is helping me, do the whole complex, and we're probably 80% done now. It's been slow, but we're getting there. And
just in time. When if oils drop down now, the market seems to have corrected a little bit there. But if it goes up again because of somebody doing something crazy somewhere,
right.
You're ready.
Yeah, I mean, I have wood in an offshoot of my basement, and I've been burning wood for years anyway, but I've had this dream, and over the last few years we've been making it come true.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us today, Marcy.
Thank you for having me.
And we thank you all for watching. You've been watching Neighbor to Neighbor. My name is Lynn Coram. I've been here with Marcy Jones, and we'd like to thank our sponsors while we're out of here. We'd like to thank Stacy Subaru, Wyndham World Affairs Council, and Media Room Productions. And if you have any comments you'd like to email us, our email address is neighbortoneighbor@comcast.net. And you all have a good day.